Welcome to my channel, where there is no mercy or comfort. If you love fear, you're in the wrong place and risking your life because what I present is aimed only at dear hearts. What I'm about to tell you is not innocent things, but sick things. I will talk about the terrifying and frightening things I have found in the world, or within myself, or in this video. But before I begin, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button to receive notifications of more scary videos. And if you dare, leave a comment below the video and tell me your opinion. But be careful, you may regret it. Now, without further delay, let's delve into the world of horror, but don't expect to come out unscathed. Scary story. In this tale, they thought they were the masters of the forest, the apex predators, the bold hunters. But one fateful night, a dreadful storm changed everything. Lightning struck, and they lost their sight and their way. Now, they must confront the horrors lurking in the darkness, the nightmares haunting their dreams, and the enemies seeking their blood. They are the silent wolves, and this is the story of their fight for survival. The she-fox was fast, but not fast enough. The wolves were faster, and they were hungry. They had been tracking her for miles, following her scent, her tracks, her breath. They knew she was tired, wounded, desperate. They knew she was theirs. The pack of 5 wolves moved as one, a well-oiled machine of fur and fangs. They had been together since they were pups, born in the same litter, raised by the same mother. They had learned to hunt, to fight, to survive in the harsh and unforgiving forest. They had faced many dangers, many challenges, many enemies. But they had always prevailed, always triumphed, always lived. They owed their success to their leader, Beta Major, the formidable Alpha. He was a massive wolf, with a thick coat of black fur and a scarred muzzle. His golden eyes glowed with intelligence and authority, and his voice was a deep and powerful growl. He led with an iron will, a keen instinct, and a ruthless strategy. He was respected, feared, and obeyed by his pack and by all the other animals in the forest. Beside him walked Beta Minor, his second in command and his best friend. He was a smaller wolf, but agile and cunning. His fur was a mix of brown and gray, and his eyes were a piercing blue. He was always ready to pounce on unsuspecting prey, to chase down fleeing enemies, to protect his pack from harm. He was loyal, brave, and clever, and he shared a special bond with Beta Major. Behind them followed the Ta, the largest of the pack. He was a giant wolf with a muscular body and a thick neck. His fur was a dark brown, and his eyes were a dull green. He possessed immense strength, but lacked the intelligence of his companions. He was slow, clumsy, and easily distracted, but he made up for it with his fierce loyalty and his willingness to fight. He was the pack's warrior, their shield, their weapon. Next to him ran Exie, the stealthy scout. She was a slender wolf with a graceful and elegant posture. Her fur was a silvery white, and her eyes were a bright yellow. She moved through the shadows like a phantom, her step silent and her movements fluid. She was the pack's eyes, their ears, their nose. She could detect the slightest sound, the faintest smell, the smallest movement. She was the pack's spy, their tracker, their hunter. At the rear of the pack trotted Absalom, the youngest and most inexperienced. He was a small wolf, with a scrawny body and a timid demeanor. His fur was a light brown, and his eyes were a soft hazel. He struggled to keep up with the seasoned hunters, to learn from their skills, to prove his worth. He was the pack's pup, their apprentice, their future. Together, they were the Silent Wolves, a name they had earned for their ability to hunt without making a sound, to communicate without words, to kill without mercy. They were the masters of the forest, the apex predators, the fearless hunters. And they were hungry. The she-fox knew she was doomed. She had been running for hours, trying to escape the relentless pursuit of the wolves. She had tried to lose them, to confuse them, to outrun them. But they were too smart, too persistent, too fast. They had cornered her, trapped her, doomed her. She had no choice but to run towards the old tower, the only shelter she could see in the moonlit forest. It was a crumbling structure, a relic of a forgotten age, a monument of decay. It stood on the edge of the forest, overlooking a steep cliff. It was a dangerous place, a haunted place, a cursed place. But it was her only hope. She dashed towards the tower, hoping to find a way in, a way out, a way to survive. She ignored the warning signs, the eerie silence, the ominous feeling. She had no time to waste, no time to think, no time to fear. She had to live. The wolves followed her, their hunger growing, their excitement rising, their bloodlust boiling. They saw her enter the tower, saw her disappear into the darkness, saw her seal her fate. They knew she was theirs, knew she was doomed, knew she was dead. They reached the tower, ready to finish their hunt, ready to claim their prize, ready to feast. They ignored the warning signs, the eerie silence, the ominous feeling. They had no time to waste, no time to think, no time to fear. They had to eat. But as they entered the tower, a terrible thing happened. A blinding bolt of lightning struck the tower, engulfing it in flames. The wolves were thrown to the ground, their bodies scorched, their ears ringing, their senses dulled. They felt a surge of pain, a wave of shock, a loss of hearing. They could no longer hear the sounds of the forest, the sounds of their prey, the sounds of each other. They were deaf. They stumbled out of the tower, disoriented and vulnerable. They saw the flames, the smoke, the destruction. They saw the storm, the lightning, the thunder. They saw the forest, the shadows, the dangers. They saw each other, the fear, the confusion. They saw nothing else. They had lost their hearing, their way, their advantage. They entered the tower as hunters, as masters, as silent wolves. They had left the tower as prey, as victims, as deaf wolves. And the forest was waiting for them. The forest was alive with horrors, horrors that the wolves could not hear, could not anticipate, could not escape. They had entered a nightmare that they could not wake up from, could not understand, could not survive. They had lost their hearing, their most valuable sense, their most powerful weapon. They had lost their ability to communicate, to coordinate, to cooperate. They had lost their edge, their confidence, their courage. They had lost everything. They tried to stay together. to stick to their pack, to support each other. But the forest was too dark, too vast, too hostile. They were separated, isolated, vulnerable. They were alone, and they were afraid. Theta, the mighty warrior, found himself facing off against a monstrous stag, its antlers gleaming in the moonlight. Without his sense of hearing, he was unable to anticipate its deadly charge. He fought valiantly, but the stag's horns pierced his flesh, leaving him bleeding and broken. He tried to call for help, to summon his pack, to alert his leader. But no sound came out of his mouth. No sound reached his ears. No sound echoed in the forest. He was silent. He felt a surge of pain, a wave of panic, a loss of hope. He knew he was doomed, knew he was dying, knew he was dead. He closed his eyes, waiting for the end, waiting for the darkness, waiting for the peace. But the end did not come. The darkness did not engulf him. Instead, he felt a new sensation, a new emotion, a new horror. He felt fear. He opened his eyes and saw the stag standing over him, its eyes glowing with malice, its mouth dripping with blood. He saw the stag lower its head, preparing to deliver the final blow, preparing to end his life, preparing to feast. He tried to move, to fight, to flee, but he was too weak, too wounded, too late. He felt the stag's horns plunge into his chest, felt his heart stop beating, felt his life slip away. He felt nothing else. Sai, the silent assassin, encountered a nest of giant spiders, their hairy legs skittering across the forest floor. With her acute senses dulled, she struggled to detect their presence until it was too late. The spiders swarmed over her, their venomous fangs sinking into her flesh as she howled in silent agony. She tried to shake them off, to bite them back, to kill them all. But they were too many, too fast, too lethal. She tried to run, to hide, to escape, but they were everywhere, blocking her path, trapping her in their web. She tried to signal for help, to contact her pack, to reach her leader. But no sound came out of her mouth. No sound reached her ears. No sound echoed in the forest. She was silent. She felt a surge of pain, a wave of nausea, a loss of consciousness. She knew she was doomed, knew she was dying, knew she was dead. She closed her eyes, waiting for the end, waiting for the darkness, waiting for the peace. But the end did not come. The darkness did not engulf her. The peace did not embrace her. Instead, she felt a new sensation, a new emotion. She felt fear. She opened her eyes and saw the spiders crawling over her, their eyes gleaming with hunger, their mouths salivating with poison. She saw the spiders wrap her in their silk, preparing to drag her to their lair, preparing to end her life, preparing to feast. She tried to move, to fight, to flee, but she was too weak, too numb, too late. She felt the spider's fangs pierce her skin, felt her blood turn to ice, felt her life slip away. She felt nothing else. Beta Minor, the cunning strategist, found himself surrounded by a flock of bloodthirsty condors, their beady eyes fixed on him with hunger. Unable to hear their approach, he was caught off guard as they swooped down from the skies, their talons tearing at his flesh. He tried to dodge them, to outsmart them, to trick them. But they were too smart, too persistent, too ruthless. He tried to fight them, to claw them, to rip them, but they were too strong, too agile, too fierce, to try to call for help, to rally his pack, to warn his leader. But no sound came out of his mouth. No sound reached his ears. No sound echoed in the forest. He was silent. He felt a surge of pain, a wave of anger, a loss of control. He knew he was doomed, knew he was dying, knew he was dead. He closed his eyes, waiting for the end, waiting for the darkness, waiting for the peace. But the end did not come. The darkness did not engulf him. Instead, he felt a new sensation, a new emotion, a new horror. He felt fear. He opened his eyes and saw the condors circling above him, their wings flapping with menace, their beaks snapping with greed. He saw the condors dive towards him, preparing to strike him down, preparing to end his life, preparing to feast. He tried to move, to fight, to flee, but he was too weak, too injured, too late. He felt the condor's talons dig into his flesh, felt his bones crack, felt his life slip away. He felt nothing else. Upsilon, the brave young pup, wandered lost and alone through the forest, his heart pounding with fear. Every shadow seemed to conceal a new horror, every rustle of leaves a potential threat. But despite his terror, he refused to give up, determined to find his pack and reunite with them. He tried to follow their scent, their tracks, their trail, but they were too faint, too old, too scattered. He tried to listen for their sounds, their voices, their howls, but he heard nothing, nothing but the storm, nothing but the silence. He tried to communicate with them, to send them a message, to receive a reply, but no sound came out of his mouth, no sound reached his ears, no sound echoed in the forest. He was silent. He felt a surge of loneliness, a wave of sadness, a loss of hope. He knew he was doomed, knew he was dying, knew he was dead. He closed his eyes, waiting for the end, waiting for the darkness, waiting for the peace. But the end did not come. The darkness did not engulf him. Instead, he felt a new sensation, a new emotion, a new horror. He felt fear. He opened his eyes and saw a pair of glowing eyes staring at him from the darkness, a pair of eyes that he recognized, a pair of eyes that he feared. He saw the eyes of Beta Major, his leader, his idol, his hero. He saw the eyes of the Alpha, the Master, the silent wolf. He felt a surge of joy, a wave of relief, a spark of hope. He knew he was saved, knew he was alive, knew he was not alone. He ran towards him, wagging his tail, licking his face, nuzzling his fur. He tried to express his gratitude, his loyalty, his love. He tried to make a sound, any sound, a sound that would reach his ears, a sound that would echo in the forest, a sound that would break the silence. But no sound came out of his mouth, no sound reached his ears, no sound echoed in the forest. He was silent, and then he felt a new sensation, a new emotion, a new horror. He felt pain. He looked at Beta Major and saw his golden eyes turn red, his scarred muzzle curl into a snarl, his powerful jaws clamp around his neck. He saw his leader, his idol, his hero, turn into a monster, a killer, a traitor. He saw the Alpha, the Master, the silent wolf, betray him, attack him, kill him. He tried to move, to fight, to flee, but he was too weak, too small, too late. He felt Beta Major's teeth crush his throat, felt his breath stop, felt his life slip away. He felt nothing else. Beta Major, the formidable Alpha, stood over the lifeless body of Upsilon, his pup, his apprentice, his future. He felt no remorse, no guilt, no regret. He felt only hunger, hunger that had driven him to madness, hunger that had made him kill his pack, hunger that had made him a monster. He had killed them all, one by one, in cold blood. He had killed Beta, the warrior, the shield, the weapon. He had killed Exi, the scout, the hunter, the spy. He had killed Beta Minor, the friend, the partner, the second. He had killed Upsilon, the pup, the apprentice, the future. He had killed them all, and he had eaten them all, their flesh, their blood, their souls. He had eaten them all, and he had become them all, their strength, their spirit. He had eaten them all, and he had become the silent wolf, the lone wolf, the alpha wolf. He looked at the forest and saw the horrors, the nightmares, the enemies. He saw the stag, the spiders, the condors. He saw the creatures that had tried to kill him. He saw the creatures that had tried to kill him, that had killed his pack, that had made him a killer. He saw them, and he felt no fear, no hate, no pity. He felt only hunger, hunger that had not been satisfied, hunger that had not been quenched, hunger that had not been cured. He felt hunger, and he acted on it. He ran towards the creatures, his eyes glowing with madness, his mouth dripping with blood. He ran towards them, and he attacked them, and he killed them. He killed them all, one by one, in cold blood, in silence. He killed the stag, the spiders, the condors. He killed them all, and he ate them all, their flesh, their blood, their souls. He ate them all, and he became them all, their power, their speed, their ferocity. He ate them all, and he became the silent wolf, the lone wolf, the alpha wolf. He looked at the sky and saw the storm, the lightning, the thunder. He saw the storm that had changed everything, that had taken everything, that had given everything. He saw the storm, and he felt no awe, no gratitude. He felt only hunger, hunger that had grown stronger, hunger that had grown deeper, hunger that had grown darker. He felt hunger, and he acted on it. He howled at the storm, his voice silent but his message clear. He howled at the storm, and he challenged it, and he defied it. He howled at the storm, and he summoned it, and he faced it. He howled at the storm, and he became the storm, the silent storm, the lone storm, the alpha storm. He became the storm, and he unleashed his fury, his power, his hunger. He unleashed the storm, and he struck the forest, the tower, the cliff. He struck them all, and he destroyed them all, and he consumed them all. He consumed them all, and he became them all, their energy, their fire, their force. He became them all, and he became the silent wolf, the lone wolf. He looked at himself and saw nothing, nothing but the hunger, nothing but the madness, nothing but the monster. He saw nothing, and he felt nothing, nothing but the hunger, nothing but the hunger, nothing but the hunger. He felt the hunger, and he acted on it. He turned on himself, his eyes glowing with madness, his mouth dripping with blood. He turned on himself, and he attacked himself, and he killed himself. He killed himself, and he ate himself, his blood, his soul, He ate himself, and he became himself. His hunger, his madness, his monster. He became himself, and he became the silent wolf, the lone wolf, the alpha wolf. He became the silent wolf, the lone wolf, and he was silent. The